Welcome to Old School Programming again. And today we have a special video because I found my very first ever computer that I bought. This was a pocket computer. It's a TRS 80 pocket computer from 1983. It only has 2 kilobytes of RAM. And believe it or not, it can actually do basic programming. As you can see on the screen, it has a keyboard, a QWERTY keyboard, believe it or not. It functions as a basic calculator, and it does have square root and pi value and using exponents, but it also has functions that you can do this sine, code, tangent, square root, you name it. It can do all these nice little things. And the given thing was here is that you can go into program mode and do basic programming. That's right, basic programming. So in addition to the TRS 80, I had myself the printer cassette interface from Radio Shack. And that one is on the uh, top left here in the video. And I also had a cassette player that you have to attach it with cables, and it works good. It still works to this day. On the bottom right, we see a printer cassette combo unit from Sharp, because the Sharp and the TRS 80 were the same computers, pocket computers. They just manufactured by, they were made for different manufacturers, if you will, but they were the same device. So they were compatible and did not have a printer cassette combo unit. I actually had only the printer cassette from the top left. So I'm going to be doing two exercises here on the computer so you can see them. I'm going to record them with my phone, believe it or not. The first one is going to be using Kramer's rule for two variables. So what am I talking about? So I'm not a math whiz, but I can tell you this. If you remember from high school, you can do things like a work problem. Johnny buys 3 hamburgers and 2 hot dogs for $8, and Mary buys 2 hamburgers and 1 hot dog for 5. How much is each hamburger and a hot dog? And you remember the x, y when you have two equations, right? So the first equation would be 3x plus 2y equals 8, and the second equation would be 2x plus y equals 5. If I was to do this doing substitution, which is what they normally teach you to do as a first step, from the second equation, I would get 2x plus y equals 5. And from there, y will be equals to 5 minus 2x. Then I would substitute that into the first equation, that 3x plus 2y equals 8. And I would put it in the value that I obtained for y in each one of the y's. And I would come up at the very end with x equals 2. And then I would go back to the other equation and substitute the value into the x's, and I would come with y equals 1. So therefore, I would have each hamburger equals $2 and a hot dog is 1. So 3 hamburgers, 3 times 2 equals 6, and 2 hot dogs, 2 times 1 equals 2, will be equals to $8. 2 hamburgers, 2 times 2 equals 4, and 1 hot dog, 1 plus 1 equals 5. So yeah, we know the answer is correct. But how would I do this on a computer, especially on a computer with only 2 kilobytes of RAM? I mean, that was, I'm not going to say you can't do it, but I was no Bill Gates. So I had to do it in BASIC, and I came with Kramer's rule for two variables. In Kramer's rules, I would substitute the values. I would say A equals 3, B equals 2, C equals 8, the numbers of X's and Y's. And then D equals 2 equals 1, E equals 1, and F equals 5. The coefficient would be A times E minus B times D. And you can see on the screen the value for X and for Y. And underneath is the programming that I actually used on my computer. I input the value for the equation 1, for A, for B, and for C. Then for D and E and F from the second equation, I would do my calculations, and I would print the values for X and Y. And I would ask if you want to do this again. And that's how my little program works. It takes very little RAM, and it works good. And this is something useful. Now, I'm not a math whiz, so I'm not going to get into the details of Kramer's rules, even though I actually know how it works. I'm not going to uh, get too deep into it. All I can tell you that it is easier to do a computer program on formulas like it is here than with substitution. There's a lot less steps, and it's straightforward. You can see C times E minus B times F divided by D. I mean, that is a easy to do thing. So this is perfect for the pocket computer. The second example I'm going to do is temperature conversion, because I love temperatures. If you've seen my videos or my blogs, I'm always doing conversion programs. So I'm going to be doing this. Here is a table for Fahrenheit, Kelvin, and this one has a ranking here, but I'm not going to do ranking. I'm only going to do Celsius, which is the centigrade, and then Kelvin, which is the standard unit, and Fahrenheit. From those three, Celsius, Fahrenheit, and Kelvin, I came with this program. I would input the source, K, C, or F. Of course, I'm supposed to do this. I don't have the luxury of having a full screen, so I had to make it fit in the one 24 character line of display, of LCD display. So I would ask the input, then I would ask the value, and then based on the input, I would say, hey, is it Kelvin? Is it Celsius or Fahrenheit? Depending on what it is, I would go to those lines, 140, 180, or 220. Then if it's neither one of them three, I would say error, select one of these and go back and ask again. Then after that, I would print the Kelvin, the Celsius, and Fahrenheit values. And I would ask if you want to do this again, repeat it, go back to line 10, otherwise end. And then those are the subroutines, right? My lines 140, 180, and 220 are actually subroutines. I'm not using GoSub because that was not supported in the Pocket Computer, but the GoTo was. And I'm not a fan of the GoTo command at all in GW Basic. It doesn't really matter what language I use. I'm not a fan of GoTo because it makes a mess. In this program itself, you can see I'm going here, then I'm going back, and then going there. You can see I also did not put any comments, even though the REM statement is supported in the computer, in the Pocket Computer. I didn't use it. It would take memory, plus there was no need. So I don't put any comments. And additionally, I'm doing go to here, go to there. Again, instead of subroutine, go subroutine, I'm doing the go to and then go to back, but I had to do it in the interest of the program and the memory that I have. So yeah, I'm gonna now go ahead and show you each one of the programs and how they work. And so you can see it in action. I'm gonna record those, by the way, with my phone. So the quality may not be as good, but yeah, hopefully it's still viewable reasonably. All right, so here we are with the TRS 80 PC computer. As you can see, it's a basic calculator. It also has a keyboard, QWERTY keyboard. I'm gonna turn it on, and I just want to show you a couple of things. I can do things like 25 times 5, or minus 25 times 5. Yeah, negative 125. Or I can do SIN of, let's say, 35 degrees, and it gives me the number. In the near future, I'm going to do a video of all the built-in functions that came with this beautiful computer. But for now, let's jump into the programming mode. And I switched to programming mode here, and I'm going to do the arrow keys here. I already typed the program, Kramer's temp. The reason I did it like this is because I put both programs into the computer at the same time. So all I added to the code that I previously showed you was basically to add a menu to say, hey, what do you want to do? Do Kramer's rule for 2 variables or do a temperature? Other than that, make sure my finger doesn't not in the way. I do the selection. If there's no correct selection, I give out an error. There's no comments in my program, obviously for saving space, and it doesn't really make sense in a one line of character per line, right? So here it is. It's the same code that I had. No, nothing has changed other than I'm doing this 2 programs at the same time. To run the program, I go to run and I type run, R-U-N. I'm gonna hit enter. And it's asking me, do I want to do Kramer, temp, or quit? If I do any other letter, gonna give me an error. Say no, you gotta select one of those three. So let's do temperature first. Do temperature, T. It's gonna ask me the source, Kelvin, Celsius, or Fahrenheit. Again, I only have 24 characters in a one line, so saving space is important. So I'm gonna do Celsius, hit enter, and I'm gonna put in 45 Celsius. And it's gonna tell me the Kelvin, Celsius, and Fahrenheit. After that, it's gonna ask me if I wanna do it again. I say yes. Now I'm gonna do Fahrenheit. And I'm gonna do 122. And that's gonna give me the Kelvin, Celsius, and Fahrenheit. If I say no, let's go back to the menu. Now let's do Kramer. And I'm gonna do the same example, you know, the 3 hamburgers and 2 hot dogs were $8. And then 2 hamburgers and 1 hot dog were $5. And there it is. Each hamburger is $2 and a hot dog's $1. And that's how easy this is. This has been filmed with, I'm gonna ask again, yes, no, I'm gonna say no, and I'm going to quit. And it goes back to the prompt. The prompt is a little greater than sign. I will be doing another video in the near future again, as I said, for the built-in functions, and I will demonstrate most, if not all, the functions, and probably some other basic commands, because not all the basic commands are available. For example, if you notice, I'm doing go-tos. As I explained before, I don't like go-tos, but I had no choice because, you know, there's no go subroutine here, so go-tos were it. And I turn it off, and that's the TRS 80 pocket computer. Anyways, if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and thank you very much. Until next time.